when I was in yeshiva,
Somebody going to Israel buy a talit.
there was a rule, and the rule was that if
cheaper, a little cheaper.
Class is in session.
that's what we're talking about. When I was in yeshiva,
I see.
on page 420,
Speaking of thoughts.
there was a rule. Right outside of the yeshiva, there was a wall, perhaps as long as that wall over there, with maybe 6 or 7 shelves where all the boys kept their hats and jackets. You're talking about like 250 hats, and how you know which one is yours? They're all black, they're all the same size, more or less. That was a miracle. If you didn't have a hat or a jacket, so you found your jacket but you couldn't find your hat, you were not allowed to enter the Beit Knesset. You could not come inside. You had to pray alone in the hallway. Because if you don't have a hat or a jacket, you're not welcome to pray there. Almost like praying with a hat was more important than praying with a minyan. Now, I'll tell you, halakhically, there's no truth to this statement. I'm not even sure that to them it was a halakhic statement. It was a school uniform statement. Always those guys that they don't want to wear a jacket, they don't want to wear a hat, but it's a uniform. So how do you enforce the uniform? Don't come. If I had a school, this would not be the policy in place. Let's just put it this way. I'm just telling you this story. When I have a school, this will not be the policy in place. Thank you, Marlene.
Good.
B'ezrat Hashem.
The miracle of Kozlaka. This question comes up with a talit. Let's say that you're that person who forgot your talit at home. And now you're waiting for your talit. So the synagogue started praying, the community started praying. Did you pray with them? Get your tefillah in public, meaning in a minyan, and then put on your talit and tefillin later? Or do you wait for them to come? Your talit and tefillin, or your talit or your tefillin, and then you pray on your own? Because why would you pray without your talit and tefillin?
It's a good question.
I think
I thought of it more than once.
I think you pray for
This
the
is a good
minion
question.
and then
Yeah.
you put on the...
Well, what's the question that we're really asking?
Is praying in a minyan more important than wearing the
Talit.
talit?
Very good. Let's read, and then we'll read why. First we'll read Imachamad, the last 3 lines on page 420 of the big letters.
Which page?
420.
Oh, 20.
Hey, letter hey.
Hey. Imachamad she'en lo talit. If because the person doesn't have their talit, alul lehitakev ulafsid tefillah b'tzibur, he's going to be delayed and he won't be able to pray with a minyan. Adif shitpalel b'tzibur b'lo talit. It's better he should pray with a tzibur, with a minyan, without a talit, mima sheyamtin ad shetiyeh lo talit, rather than wait for his talit to arrive. V'tov, and it's proper shenachol hapachot, that in any case, at the very least, Yalav Katan, you should have at least his tzitzit on. You don't want to have a talit, fine, but a tzitzit at least it should have in that situation. What is the story? What's going on here?
But you should at least have the talit katon.
Yeah, if you have a talit katan, it suffices.
But that's only an extra, like, if you can. You're right, that's the truth.
But it doesn't replace the talit.
Doesn't.
Peretz is of the
Although when
opinion.
you say Shema, I guess you can kiss the tzitzit on your talit kohan, which you wouldn't be able to do if you didn't have a talit otherwise.
Peretz is of the opinion that if you have a choice to pray at sunrise or to pray later with a minyan, and you will consistently pray at sunrise, you should pray at sunrise than pray with a minyan.
Rather than?
Or both, you mean?
Repentance, right?
No. Either you're going to pray sunrise, or you're going to pray with a minyan. Let's say sunrise at 5:30, but minyan is at 7. So you should pray at sunrise.
Yeah.
Now, it's not his novel idea. The Mishnah Berurah quotes this. Chafetz Chaim writes this. And he says that if a person normally prays at sunrise, and they come to a place where there's no minyan at sunrise, they should pray at sunrise still, even without a minyan.
Mm-hmm.
The Peretz's thing here is that he holds it in general, even if you don't regularly pray, but especially if you regularly pray. that sunrise, the tefillah at sunrise, is so important that it actually outweighs tefillah b'tzibur. Now here there's an argument whether you should still go later to hear Kedusha and Kaddish and things like that or not. I didn't stick my head in there, but we want to ask now Peretz, what's his opinion if we don't have a talit and tefillin and the minyan is late? Meaning we left our tefillin at shul and our talit at shul, and now it's 5:30. So what do? Is to pray without a talit, pray without tefillin, pray without a minyan, and pray at sunrise. It would be a good idea here, at least once a month, to do like a sunrise tefillah. We'll get there. B'ezrat Hashem.
Really?
We're still working on Sundays, but we'll get to sunrise minyanim. In Yerushalayim, we used to be careful, at least on Rosh Chodesh, to pray at sunrise. The question here we're asking really is a talit or a minyan, which is more important? So let's see the footnotes here.
What
The
is
bottom right.
What is so special about praying at sunrise?
Very good. You tell me.
This is the very, very beginning of the day. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the truth. When you Shulchan Aruch, we learn. When are you supposed to say Shacharit? When the sun rises.
And
When do you say Shema? A little bit before then.
Before then?
We're supposed to say Amidah, take the 3 steps back as the sun rises over the horizon. That's the halacha. We learned this from Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, he's the one who instituted Tefillah Shacharit. It says, Vayashkem Avraham Baboker. Avraham woke up early in the morning. Not in the morning, he woke up early in the morning. Meaning, he prayed at sunrise. That's the way our rabbis understand this. And that's the way Tefillah was instituted. Any Tefillah that happens after sunrise is a second grade Tefillah.
Really?
Yes.
Sunrise, where is the time?
It changes, you're right. It changes based on the year. There are some months of the year where sunrise is very late.
Yeah.
And there's some times in the year where sunrise is very early.
Yeah, Alaska only 3 hours, 2 hours. All night.
What?
Alaska.
Yeah, okay.
The
Alaska
time
is a
very
different, everything
small.
is different over there.
Yeah.
Different.
In Alaska, you might have to pray like 7 times in a day. Or once a month. It depends how it's working out.
Does would it have anything also to do with mitzvah should not be delayed?
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Mitzvah haba de'edcha techmitzana. If a mitzvah comes to your hands, you cannot delay it.
Right, you're right.
Barry, this would only apply though in a case where
You're awake.
you're awake. If you're sleeping, so the mitzvah didn't come to your hand yet. But you're right. I was on somebody's house, and I was going to meet at 8, and he was going to meet at 9. And so I see him at 7:45. He's laying back in his chair, drinking coffee, reading the newspaper. I said, "Hey, why don't you come with me to shul?" He said, "I pray at 9." I said, "Hashem's going to wait for you till 9 o'clock. You're already awake. Man, the guy who sleeps until 9, I understand. But the guy who's awake at 6 reading the newspaper, why does he not pray as soon as possible?
Yeah. Very few people do that. They
Loaf around until
well,
tefillah."
unless they're in insomnia, you know.
So I don't know what he had, but this is an important thing. You should know to go pray as early as we can.
He may not have many if you go to early sometimes.
Yeah, but here there was. I was going there. This is a place you could pray. So in footnote Gimel on the bottom right, Ayen b'divrei, look in the writings of my father. Who's his father? Rabbi Yosef. Shehuvau b'sefer Yalkut Yosef Chelek Aleph, which are quoted in the book Yalkut Yosef. Who wrote Yalkut Yosef? Who wrote this book?
Oh, he did. Yosef, his Rabbi Abadiah's son.
Rabbi Yosef's son, whose name is?
Seth.
That's the last name.
Oh, I don't know.
You know where Rabbi Yosef's name was?
Abadiah.
His name was Rabbi Ovadia Yosef Ovadia. His last name was Ovadia. His first name was Ovadia, and his middle name was Yosef. I told him that in Israel, you don't really have names like Ovadia, Yosef, Ovadia. So get rid of one of the names. So he got rid of his last name. And he turned his middle name into his. Rabbi David Yosef is the one who wrote this book, and Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef is the one who wrote the Yalkut Yosef. Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef is the current chief Sephardic rabbi of Israel. So he's saying, go look in my brother's book what he quotes on the name of my father. That's what he's saying. Linyan tefillin, regarding tefillin. Meaning the question that he brings there is not about a talit. Someone's going to bring my tefillin in an hour, but if I wait for the tefillin to come, I'm going to miss praying with a minyan. Which is better, to pray without my tefillin with a minyan, or to wait until I have my tefillin to pray?
Minyan is better.
So Rabbi Yovan Yosef writes, "Shehadavar shanui b'machloket ha'achronim." He says this is all based off of an argument between the latter-day rabbis, the achronim. Im tefillah b'tzibur adifa, or tefillah im tefillin adifa. Whether it's more important to pray with tefillin or more important to pray in a minyan. Ayan Sham.
Adif is not a Hebrew word, right?
Adif is Hebrew and adifa is in Aramaic.
That's what I thought.
Yes,
Adif means, again,
preferable, better.
better.
Ayan Sham, go look there if you want to see the whole discussion, it says. V'nira laniu dati, it seems to me, shelinyan tzitzit, that regarding tzitzit, כיוון שבלאו הכי אין הדבר ברור לחשיב כמידת שגר בעצמו קשור לקריאת שמע בלא ציצית. Let me tell you what the story is by tefillin before I read to you what he says here. The story by tefillin is our rabbis say that if a person prays shacharit without tefillin, it's as if he testifies falsely about himself. He's reading Shema, says you have to wear tefillin, and he's not wearing tefillin. And so over there, the question really is it better to pray with a minyan and testify falsely against yourself? Or is it better to tell the truth and be wearing tefillin and skip out on praying with a minyan?
Is there different opinions on this?
Yeah, there are different opinions about this. Which is better, which is worse?
Well, you know what's really weird is I've heard that one applied to tzitzit before.
Oh, very good.
And then that seems now, in light of what we learned in this class, to be kind of an arm twister. You know,
Very good. So Dan is right, and we mentioned this a week or two ago, that
okay.
the Zohar mentions this about tzitzit. The tzitzit, if a person says Shema without wearing tzitzit, it's as if he's me'id edu sheker b'atzmo. He's testifying falsely about himself. But we saw that many rabbis argued with this, because it's not found in the Talmud. It's found in the
you
Zohar.
don't have to wear the four-corner garment.
Very good. If you're not wearing a four-cornered garment, meaning that the Zohar would only apply if you're wearing a four-cornered garment that doesn't have tzitzit. But you don't have to obligate yourself. In light of what we learned in Halakha, you don't have to obligate yourself in wearing tzitzit. In which case he says, now you have to understand, in this situation, says Rabbi Yosef, what he just said, it's unclear whether it's really a problem to say Shema without tzitzit in the first place. And that's not a so... are you wearing a four-cornered garment that doesn't have tzitzit? No. You're just not wearing tzitzit. So what's the big deal?
But tefillin is a different obligation.
Tefillin is different.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking now about talit. So here we're talking about tzitzit. V'yesh omrim, and some say shebetzitzit she'ena chova mamash min hadin. That some say that tzitzit is not really an obligation from halakha. You don't have to wear it. Ela rak im yesh lo beged shel arba kanfot. Only if you have a four-cornered garment. Tzarich latil bo tzitzit. You have to put tzitzit inside of it. Lo havi ki meidid to check batzmo. Even according to the opinion that says that you're not allowed to say Shema without tzitzit, it's only if you're wearing a four-cornered garment that doesn't have tzitziot. Lachen, therefore, tefillah b'tzibur adifa, praying with a minyan is preferable to wearing tzitzit.
Because of the nature of the obligation.
Very good. Uvifrat. Especially, this is especially true. Im yesh alav talit katan, if he already has tzitzit, shelovesh ta'arat b'gadav, that he's wearing underneath his clothes. Shebazeh bevadai lo chashiv medu shega b'atzmo, because for sure now he's not lying. He's wearing tzitzit. Maybe not a talit, not a fancy one for tefillah, but he is wearing tzitzit. So even according to he who will tell you, but you can't say Shema without tzitzit, I am wearing tzitzit, just not a talit. And in this case, yesh bazeh rak mishum she'eno multaf b'shat tefillah. Here, there's just this question that there's an idea that you should be wrapped in your talit when you pray. But between this idea of being wrapped in a talit when you pray and praying with a minyan, it's obvious, yesh lomar she'tefillah b'tzibur adifa, that praying with a minyan is preferable to praying wrapped in a talit. Uvefrat, and this is especially true, Shelishon HaRambam, the language the Rambam uses, the wording he uses, at the end of the third chapter of Zichot Tzitzit, Shegnai Gadol, page 421, left column. Shegnai Gadol is very disgraceful Talmidei Chachamim, to Torah scholars. Sheitpalalu, to pray, Vehem enam atufin, and they are not wrapped up in their talit. Mashma, what do you see from here? Who has to be wrapped in their talit during tefillah?
Torah scholars.
Torah scholars. Is everybody a Torah scholar? No, in which case it doesn't apply. The dafka with Talmidei Chachamim yikak peida b'hachi. That only by Talmidei Chachamim there's this idea that they have to be wrapped in a talit.
I guess it includes all of us now.
Well, now you're in the category of Talmidei Chachamim. I told you this. And then he brings a number of sources that hold this opinion the halacha. That's fair. So a talit, this is his reason why he reaches this conclusion, that a talit is less important than tefillah v'tzibur, because one, most people wear tzitzit, and even those who don't wear tzitzit may not be Talmidei Chachamim, and even if one's a Talmid Chacham, you could rely on the opinion that says that this whole thing about testifying falsely only applies if you're wearing a four-cornered garment that doesn't have tzitziot. But if you are not wearing a four-cornered garment at all, so then this would not be an issue either.
Is there any difference woolen and cotton?
Is there any difference? About what?
Woolen scissors, cotton scissors.
If one is wearing wool or cotton? It's a good question. I don't think there would be a difference, no. I don't think so. Alright. Top of page 421. This might be relevant to some people in this room. We've had this conversation before. Mitzvah. There's a mitzvah. What does a mitzvah mean?
Commandment.
Commandment? No.
Obeying a commandment.
So you're right. In the biblical Hebrew, mitzvah means tzivui, commandment. In halachic Hebrew, mitzvah doesn't mean commandment.
Oh.
I'll give you an example. A rabbi say, Mayim rishonim, mitzvah. Washing your hands before bread is a mitzvah. Mayim imtzayim, washing your hands in the middle of a meal. Why would you wash your hands in the middle of a meal? Between meat and fish, very good. Reshut, that's up to you if you want to do that or not. Mayim acharonim, the water at the end of the meal, chova, it's an obligation. If you look in Shulchan Aruch and Even Ha'ezer, Maran uses a similar language. He says, at the age of 13, getting married is a mitzvah. At the age of 18, getting married is a chova, an obligation. At the age of 20, Bedin kofinoto. Bedin beats him or forces him to get married. Says the Rama, breathe, it's okay. The Rama says, this does not apply nowadays. The argument is, what does not apply nowadays? Is there no longer an obligation to get married at 18? Some say yes, he's saying the ages have changed. Some say what he's saying is, Bedin doesn't force people anymore. Meaning, that's what doesn't apply nowadays. But the other things apply, we just don't force anybody anymore. That would make for very different ramifications in different communities. The way they would interpret that halakha. We see that the word mitzvah does not necessarily mean an obligation, but rather something that one should do. Which is not really the definition of the word mitzvah. But it's the word man. Mitzvah. There's a mitzvah. Lechoz hatzitzit, to hold onto the tzitzit, biyad smalit, with the left hand. Keneged libo, opposite his heart, on his heart. Bishat kriyat shema, during the reading of kriyat shema. Remez the Devalis alludes to what it says in the Torah, V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele al levavecha, that these words should be on your heart. And that's why we put the tzitzit, which represent the mitzvot, on our heart, in our left hand. Let's see these opinions inside.
So in the third paragraph of the Shema, you take in your right hand and you kiss.
This is what he's talking about. You're correct. Notice, does Maran say to kiss them?
Oh, it's not in
Not all at
the
once.
translation. It's not in the translation.
It's not in the translation, meaning Maran did not say to kiss them. Did Maran say at a certain point to transfer them to your right hand? No, it's not in the Shulchan Aruch either. Did Maran say to hold them between certain fingers? Nope,
No.
Maran didn't say that either. Did Maran say how many tzitziot to hold? Nope, he didn't say that either.
No.
This is just Maran is saying you take your tzitziot in your left hand and put them on your heart. How many? Doesn't tell us. What time? When do you do it? Doesn't tell us. What fingers? Doesn't tell us.
To kiss them, doesn't mention it. There's a number of opinions on how to read this piece of Shulchan Aruch, which we're going to do right now. In the middle of page 421, I'm skipping that paragraph because all it says that there will be other topics discussed later. And the last line in the middle of the page, Vav. You see Vav over there?
Mhm.
Oh, no. I see Dalet.
Right. On the top here, right? This one.
Mitzvah.
Oh, I thought you were down the notes. Okay. That's fine.
Mitzvah. There's a mitzvah. Le'choz tzitziot biyad smol keneged libo b'shat Kriyat Shema. One should hold his tzitziot in his left hand during Kriyat Shema. It's just the same thing Mahan said above. What's important here is why.
Is it important that it be near your heart or just in your left hand?
It seems like the important part here is not the hand, it's the heart. Which is not what most people do.
Not what
Most people are
people
holding it on their left leg, probably, or the table,
Yeah, I
or
mean,
wherever
I
else.
definitely,
Yeah,
I never
or
gave it
their
a
pot
thought.
belly, or whatever it is they're holding it on. You know, wherever that goes.
Out of left field.
Is that where you put yours?
Ah.
No.
So let's see the footnote on the bottom left. Dalet.
This might
Oh, it's yours, I'm sorry.
The reason I'm doing a lot more
I got it,
footnotes
man.
is because we've been discussing many more customs. And it's important for me to show you that there are customs that have old sources that are not in violation of halakha. I've gotten this reputation of hating customs. Don't hate customs. I hate customs that violate halakha. There are customs that are mentioned in halakha, that are mentioned in the midrash, that are alluded to in the Talmud. Those are good customs to do. They're harmless and they might even be beneficial. It's the things that are against the Torah. People say, oh, well, it's my custom. What is your custom? I had a friend who got married. And his father-in-law takes all the children shopping for clothes on Chol HaMoed Pesach. Now, Chol HaMoed, you're not allowed to shop. If you need to shop, it's only for things that you need. You need to eat, you need to drink. Okay, the rabbis added in, perhaps if there's a sale and it's going to go away, you're going to lose money. Jews, you should know. The greatest Jewish dilemma is when bacon is half off. You know, this is what do you do here? And he called his father-in-law and said, listen, basically his father got upset why he doesn't take his daughter shopping on Chol HaMoed. It's because it's forbidden in the Shulchan Aruch. But it's our family custom. And he said, but it says that you cannot do that. It doesn't make a difference. Go ask your rabbi if you should break family customs. How long do you think you have a custom in your family to shop at Macy's for? I mean, how long has this been in your lineage? You're going to tell me in Krakow they were shopping at Macy's. But when did this happen? It's a very dangerous thing that we've taught people that my custom outweighs halakha, overrides the Torah, overrides the Gemara. When? Since when? Where did this happen? And what's the proof they bring? There's a famous Tosfot that says that minhag, customs, are the same letters as Gehenom, as hell. And so if you break a custom, you're going to go to hell. I believe it was Rabbi Masas who said, other way, sometimes if you keep a custom, you're going to go to hell. This is the...
Yeah.
No, who said what it means?
It's
But this is-
not, the custom is like hell.
Oh, even better.
You know, because the two are the same, so they're equating.
They're
the two
equated with each
ideas.
other.
Almost everywhere I've ever been, the line has been that the custom is more binding than
In
halacha.
halakha.
How could they say that?
Can you imagine what's going to happen
Yeah.
when my child goes to school and they're telling me, you know, the majority of American Jews don't keep Shabbat. And so the custom in America, I don't know, in Israel it might be different. Maybe in Poland it was different. But the custom in America is that we drive on Shabbat. And that's a custom. What makes a custom a custom? Well, the majority of Jews are doing it. The majority of Jews don't keep kosher. I'm going to stop keeping kosher.
convenient.
At which point do you say something is this teaching is a very dangerous teaching?
What's the source of it?
Our rabbis mentioned that in areas where halakha is not clear as to what one should do, then they should follow what it is they did in their family, because you don't have a good reason to go this way or that way. There are some times where halakha is not so black and white. And there are opinions, there are some, for example, there might be something we do at Kehillat Shaar HaShamayim. We'll read from the Torah without a minyan, without aliyot. We'll just take out the Torah and read.
That's not our custom. It's not something we'll do when we become big with Knesset. But it's something that we instituted in order to make sure that we read from the Torah, to make sure that we don't ruin the morale of the 9 people who came and there was one person missing from Minyan. Fine. But this was instituted by people who were knowledgeable in Torah for a certain community, in a certain place, in a certain time. And what one could say is, listen, Halakha says you only take out a Torah when there's a Minyan. I would say our custom is we take out a Torah even without a Minyan, but we don't make brachot. Meaning, we're not violating the Halakha. What we're doing is just doing something that's not mentioned in Halakha. That would be the situation of a custom that's different than Halakha, not in contradiction with Halakha. If there's a custom in contradiction with Halakha, the rabbis unanimously agree that one must abolish that custom. And even if it's not unanimous, then those who don't agree are a minority opinion.
So would the Satmar hair shaving thing be something that should be abolished then? Since it's halachically, it doesn't mention anything about the length of hair of women being
You're going to release
particular
back.
length.
So one, the beauty and glory is that the Satmar community is not asking us for our opinion. But,
Of course.
Because
it's just for themselves. It's not for the. They're not
yes,
saying all Jews
it's
should do that.
for example, we mentioned the custom of refraining from kitniot. I gave an example. If I were to tell you that you should not buy apples at Sprouts on Governor Drive, nobody should sue me over this video. Sprout on Governor Drive, because I know that in this building here, in our community, it's not true. What I'm saying is not true. They have these crates they put out that hold the apples that they used to bring flour inside of them. And so now the apples, I can't tell you if the apples have flour in them or not. I recommend to my community, buy apples in Whole Foods and not on Sprouts for the 8 days of Pesach. Imagine if somebody now moved to New York and said, our rabbi says you can't buy apples at the grocery store, only in Whole Foods. Why? Because they're chametz apples. This is a very similar thing. There was a certain situation. There was a scenario.
Right.
The rabbis did not make a ruling, you cannot eat these things. Rather, you cannot eat these things because there's an issue. When that issue goes away, what happens to the halakha? There's an old argument. Does the halakha disappear because the reason went away or not? This is an old argument that I'm not going to solve. There are rabbis who say that when the reasoning goes away, the halakha goes away also. Some say, no, the reasoning hasn't. But these are customs. So if the customs reason went away, then of course it goes away. If by halakha you have authorities that would say that the reason would make the halakha go away, so how much more so by a custom? So this is what I'm... So by the Satmar community, yes, there's no reason for it. And in fact, Peretz many times cried over this custom of shaving women's heads. Aside from how he feels it makes a woman feel, which he feels is very problematic. But let's say that she's okay with it, because this is her custom. She's also, her mother did it, and her mother's mother, she's proud of it. Fine. Definitely something that affects the relationship between the husband and wife, which is something to always err on the side of caution to make things go better than worse. But aside from that, his real reasoning, the Zohar says, and you don't have to be a Kabbalist, but the Zohar says, I'm just checking everyone's heads first. The Zohar says that you're allowed to shave your head or get a haircut, but you have to leave enough hair on your head in order to grab it with your fingers. Hair is considered dinim, judgment in Kabbalah, so you should. In fact, the Kabbalists get haircuts every Friday. Every week. Every week there's an inyan on Friday to fight the klipot, to get rid of klipot. Fine. But if one gets rid of all their hair, meaning not enough to hold on to it, then they're actually creating more judgment. There has to be a middle ground, a balance. You have hair, but not too much hair, not too little hair. So these people, and it's not just the women, also the men who are shaving their hair and leaving peot on the side. This is against Kabbalistic custom. It's not against halakha. I can't tell someone to force someone to follow the Zohar. But for a community that prides itself in being Kabbalistically inclined, they're blatantly violating that which says in the Zohar. So what's the response that I got? You think the Satmar Rebbe doesn't know that? I don't know what the Satmar Rebbe knows or doesn't know. All I know is that nobody in Satmar ever called me up to ask if they should do it. That's all. So I haven't yet given my unsolicited advice. But you're correct. This is the kind of thing that wouldn't need to be in effect today. My grandfather in Yemen didn't wear pants. He didn't. He wore a certain kind of sheet that covered his body. It wraps his body. That's the way they dressed. So now I'm going to tell my children that they have to wear a sheet and they're not allowed to wear pants? It's our Yemenite tradition, one. So why is it okay when we tell our kids, no, wear tzitzit, wear kippah, wear tefillin? Those are halachot. But there are communities that will tell their child, if you don't grow up and wear a hat and a jacket, then you don't even come into my house anymore. My wife yesterday interviewed somebody who's a social worker in Borough Park. He said he had someone come send his child to him for treatment, and said, listen, I don't care if this guy keeps Shabbat. I don't care if he's on drugs. I don't care. I just need to make sure that he wears a hat and his jacket when he's in public.
What?
If it was a joke, I would tell you, I would laugh. It wasn't a joke, it was the
Talking about
truth.
consoling you, huh?
This is what he needed. All he needed. I don't care what my son does. As long as he walks around with the hat and jacket. And we don't suffer from these maladies here. We have other things we need to deal with, other issues that we have. But you never want someone to look at us and say, oh, look what they get hung up on, look what they get stuck on. You gotta be careful. This is something to think about. So let's read this footnote and we'll call it a night. Ein Hagot Maimoni. Look in this book called Hagot Maimoni, B'Shem Midrash Shocher Tov, the name of this Midrash. Shocher Tov. Al Pasuk B'Tilim, what it says in Tilim, you should know, the Sephardic traditions to read this, it's one of the few places in Tanakh where we don't say Kol, but we say Kal. Kal Atzmotai Tomarna Adonai Michamocha. Why? It's our tradition. There's a tradition like that according to the Hebrew grammar rules, this is not Kol, it's Kal. The Yemenites don't agree, and the Ashkenazim don't agree, but this is the Sephardic tradition how to read this word. That's why if you hear somebody say it, it's not that they don't know how to read the Siddur, it's that that's what it says in the Siddur. Kal atzmotai tumana. All my bones will say, Hashem, who is like you? Amar David, Ifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David tells Hashem, Ani mishabechecha b'chol evarai v'chulei. I praise you with all of my limbs. Yadi smolit ba'ani kosher tefillin shel yad. My left hand, I tie my tefillin on it. Uva'ani ochez tzitzit b'zman kriyat shema. And King David's recorded saying, that's the left hand that I use to hold my tzitzit during Shema. B'chazeh, on my chest, ani mesim ha-tzitzit keneged libi. I put my tzitzit on my chest against my heart. Bizman shani koreh kriyat Shema, while I'm reading Shema. So that answers your question. Shneimar, it says, Vayu dvarim e'ele asher onchim etzavacha hayom al levavecha, because the Torah says to put these words on my heart. Mikan raya, from here there's a proof. Shemitzvah lechoz hatzitzit biyad smolit keneged libo bezman kriyat Shema. If you see that David HaMelech tells Hashem, look, I held my tzitzit in my left hand on my heart, then you see that it's something David HaMelech did, at least according to the Midrash. So this is the origin for this practice. V'huva b'Beit Yosef. This is so compelling that the Beit Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo brings us down in his Beit Yosef. V'chen hu b'Yalkut Shimoni. This is also written in the Yalkut Shimoni. V'hevi od the Beit Yosef. The Beit Yosef brings another idea. Sheken yesh l'mod midivrei Mordechai. You should look in the name of the Mordechai. Mordechai was one of the giants of Ashkenaz. This I mentioned to you yesterday. The Ramah said that there were not just 3 pillars; there were more pillars of halakha. He mentions one of them as the Mordechai. The fact that you may have not studied him enough tells us something about how little we study from the Mordechai today. We don't. Those in halachic circles, we've quoted him many times here in the Kollel. But one of the big poskim in Ashkenaz, B'Shem Yerushalmi, he brings it down in the name of the Jerusalem Talmud. That says, when do you buy your child a talit? What age does he have to be?
9.
That would be according to what we do mitzvah chinuch. That's the age of chinuch. But here's saying, where does it say? Shekatan hayodea lechoz hatzitzit b'shat kriyat Shema. As soon as the child knows to hold tzitzit in his left hand on his heart for the duration of Shema, aviv lokech lo talit. His father has an obligation to buy him a talit. This is not from some Sephardic country. This is an Ashkenazi pillar of halakha. Reminds you again of the Chavetz Chaim, who says he doesn't understand why in Europe people don't wear talitot after bar mitzvah. If a child has to wear a talit and hold his tzitziot, okay. V'dat Rav Natronai Gaon, the opinion of Rabbi Natronai Gaon, he was one from the time of the Geonim, so before the Rishonim, before the Rambam, before Rashi, before. He writes, She'en lechoz tzitziot biyado b'shat kriyat Shema, the one should not do this, mishum yuhara. Because it looks like one's showing off. Like, oh, look at me, I'm so holy, I hold my tzitzit like King David during Shema. Does that reasoning apply anymore? No, why not? Because everybody does it. It's not only exclusively for kings and the Jewish people, everyone does it today. V'v'yor Rabbi David Abu Draham, the Abu Draham quotes them, that one should not do it. V'archot Chaim brings it, V'shen k'kadav gam of Moshe Gaon, Rabbi Moshe Gaon, he also writes one should not hold his tzitzit during Shema. Because it looks like one's trying to be extra religious and it's not okay. Can you imagine if this halakha was enforced today? The halakha of not looking too religious? Imagine if there were rabbis who gave speeches. You can't be too religious. That would be incredible. Umaran Bet Yosef Katav, Maran writes in his Bet Yosef, She'achshav, that nowadays, Shenahagu Bahem Ktat Bnei Adam, that people have already started doing this custom, Tu lo mechazek yu'ara. It's no longer considered showing off because everybody does it. Our parents once said that a certain custom you could do, it's not considered showing off anymore because now only stupid people do it. So if stupid people do it, it's definitely not showing off. You might be embarrassing yourself, he said, but that's a different story. V'chein heviu b'sever panim yafot minhag achizat tzil pshat k'yachma kam rabotenu ha'geonim v'rishonim, and there were a number, says Rabbi Yosef, a number of great rabbis who quote this as a good custom, a positive custom. Yes, hold your tzitzit during Shema. Vayin B'shut Igrot Moshe, look at Rabbi Moshe Feinstein's questions and answers, where he writes, Shekatav l'ilmod b'divrei HaMordechai l'an katan shesover shehi mitzvah min haTorah lechol tzitziot. He's something incredible. He says, you know what he learns from the Mordechai? What kind of mitzvot do you have to teach your child at a very young age? Rabbinic mitzvot or biblical mitzvot? Biblical. Meaning, at the age of chinuch, like Dan mentioned, at 9 or 10, you already teach him rabbinic mitzvot. But Elchanan, do I have to teach him rabbinic mitzvot? No. I must make sure, though, he does not violate biblical prohibitions. He cannot have meat and milk together. Correct? If the Mordechai is saying that a katan, someone under the age of chinuch, he's very young, well, how old does a kid have to be to know how to hold his tzitzit on his heart?
2 or 3.
3, 4, 2, maybe, I don't know if Elchanan can do it yet, but maybe.
2 to 4, somewhere like that.
Somewhere that age. This is way before the age of 9 or 10. If you're training him already then to hold the tzitziot, says then according to the Mordechai, this is what Moshe Feinstein says, a brilliant insight. Then according to the Mordechai, holding the tzitziot during Shema is a biblical commandment. It's part of the mitzvah of tzitzit on a biblical level. Di'im loken, because if this was not so, no haya shayach l'sher b'zinin katan. Then why would you make a little child do this? I mean, why are you training him to do something he's not obligated in? V'agaon Rabbi Shlomo Kluger writes in his book, Never ma shamu b'zohar hakadosh, kol hakoreh kriyat shema b'lo tzit kilu meid du sheker b'atzmo, v'hainu k'sheino chet tzitziot b'yado b'shat kriyat shema. Rabbi Shlomo Kluger says something even more intense. He says that based on all this, if one is wearing tzitzit during Shema, but he's not holding his tzitzit during Shema, he falls into the category of what the Zohar says, one who is saying Shema but not wearing tzitzit. It doesn't mean not wearing tzitzit, but rather not holding his tzitzit. He could be wearing tzitzit, but not holding them, and it'd still be violating that teaching of the Zohar.
Yeah.
In which case, he holds the very important thing to hold your tzitzit. Now, if you ask me, it's not something so old. I mean, the Midrash, it says King David did it. Clearly, there's an argument about it. If someone doesn't hold their tzitzit during Shema, don't get so upset at yourself. It's okay. But clearly, this is a custom. You want to take on a custom. This is a custom that's very old. There are many, many, many poskim that believe this custom was important. But Moshe Feinstein goes so far as to say that one of the Ashkenazi Rishonim held that this was a biblical commandment. From that, it says that you have to hold al levavecha. The words of the Torah should be on your heart. That's in the Torah. Now, that's not literally what the pasuk means, but it's something to think about. But this is.
Do you hold it on your heart just when you say the words, or during the whole Shema?
It's a good question. We're going to read this tomorrow. And my personal custom is to hold it during the whole Shema. But if I get tired, I put it down and I lift it up for the third chapter. I'm not going to lie to you.
Those tzitzit are pretty heavy.
They are pretty, no, but sometimes holding your hand up can be. It's not the most comfortable place to hold it.
No, I know.
Right here. All right, everybody should have a beautiful evening.